Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys Summer Showcase floor tour. Now I have to say a huge thank you to Ryan Kirkwood for going out in person and taking this awesome high-res video and the stunning pics as always. Show Ryan some love in the comments below, because without him, this series literally wouldn't be possible. Now we may as well start off with one of the biggest and most badass reveals of the day, the Batwing. Now I don't know what scale this is, but it's been floated around that it's 1/12 scale, but there is a lot to look at here. This looks to be cast out of black plastic with an opening canopy that doesn't quite open correctly, but I do really like that Batman themed display base and the rotating cannons. If they do end up making this though, I am curious if they're going to make a 1/12 scale 1989 Batman figure to go with it. Moving on to the Star Wars section of the event. Now, don't worry, there is one very big reveal that we will be discussing at the end of the tour. But when it comes to 1/6 scale figures, they had R2, yes, this is the new version, and Attack of the Clones C-3PO. But we already have preview videos for both of these figures live on the channel. In the background, you also have the big honkin' Stap with the battle droids. This is really nicely painted, but you can see how big this thing truly is. So if you are planning on picking up multiple of these, then you are going to need to have a ton of space in the display. I mean, they do make a really good set, and if you are having a full battle droid army to face off alongside your clone army, then yeah, that's going to be one hell of a display. C-3PO still looks really good. I don't know if there's been a ton of changes since the first prototype, but the paint applications are stunning. He looks rusty, he looks dirty and grimy, and I'm liking the mismatched color scheme even better. I was actually expecting to see some brand new figures here, like potentially Padme and Episode 2 Anakin and Obi-Wan. Heck, if they were going to do those two Jedi figures, they could have even branded them as Kenobi because of the flashback. Now, maybe they didn't want to do that and they're just saving them for the anniversary event. They could always do a Star Wars specific showcase sometime in the future. However, for now, they've shown off droids in one side of the Star Wars display, and on the other, some Disney Plus figures. We've got Boba from Book of Boba Fett, already up for pre-order. Cad Bane, also already up for pre-order. He looks really good here. But the gentleman in the background is the one that I personally am most excited for. Now, they haven't officially announced him, but I reckon they are going to. They've shown him a bunch of times at various conventions. Of course, the figure that I'm talking about is none other than Cobb Vanth. Now, the Marshal was right up there as one of the figures that I wanted the most out of the various Disney Plus figures, but to this date, they haven't announced him. Will he come with an unhelmeted Timothy Oliphant head sculpt? I certainly hope so. But if he doesn't, wearing that armor is still a pretty darn cool look. The body is a lot slimmer than Boba Fett and Mando, but that's accurate to the series. You knew immediately, simply by looking at him, that no, that's not Boba Fett. Something isn't quite right here. The armor is ill-fitting. I like the red undershirt, it's slightly baggy, and the helmet and all of the armor plating is suitably rusted out and weathered, because this is the armor that was taken from Boba Fett when he crawled out of the Sarlacc by the Jawas. Now, when will this guy be put up for pre-order? Your guess is as good as mine, but they could be saving a bunch more Star Wars figures for SDCC, or, as I said, future Star Wars events. Moving on to the biggest tease ever that Hot Toys have wheeled out at almost every single event, their Vulture. This one does look like it's getting further and further along with the prototyping stages though, because it's displayed in a far more complete format. What do I mean by saying that? Well, now they have these little holders that hook onto the display base to hold up the wings, and he does have a bunch of accessories. but the one that's most notably missing is a Michael Keaton head sculpt. I don't know why they haven't decided to make one for him. I really hope that they do make this because I want an officially licensed one. But Hot Toys, if you're going to make this, you really do need to do that unmasked Michael Keaton head sculpt. If we're going licensed, we want everything and we want it to your usual high quality standards. Now, if you are just trying to stop third-party companies from selling theirs, then you don't just tease this, you actually have to put it up for pre-order, otherwise people are going to get the third-party ones anyway. We've seen them do this time and time and time again, and they wheel out these figures and vehicles, but they never end up actually making them. They make teaser posts on Facebook and Instagram like Shazam and their Batmobile from Robert Pattinson's film, just to stop you from ordering them, but for what purpose when it doesn't seem like they're ever going to make those figures anyway. It just hurts the collecting community, and it's not something that I really like to see going forward. I'm hoping that they adjust their approach, but I don't think they're going to. I reckon they're just going to double down even further. As for Vulture, the wingspan looks absolutely huge. Now, I have seen this thing in person at ACGHK in 2019. It was a much earlier prototype. This one does look superior, but it was an absolute beast. I personally don't have room for this with the wings out in my display, but if they end up making it, yes, I will pick it up, I will review it, I'll compare it to the Jazz Inc. version, and I will let you know which one I feel is superior. Will the jacket be real leather like their 1973 Wolverine? Oh, I certainly hope so. That would be a very nice touch, considering some of those third-party companies that are also making this Vulture. I think there's about 4 of them now. Some of them are also using real leather. This is a very interesting situation, so I'm quite curious to see where this is going to go. Watch this space. Now, around the other side is quite clearly the massive focal point, the centerpiece of this entire event. And for good reason, it looks incredible. We've got all of the Spidey figures, Peter 1, 2, and 3, plus most, but not all of the villains. We're still missing Sandman. Now, I don't know if Hot Toys were planning on doing a Sandman and the prototype just wasn't ready in time, because it kind of feels as though this display is not fully complete. Now, the scaffolding in the background looks absolutely awesome. I'm hoping one day someone makes 1/6 scale scaffolding so we can do this in our collection. They also have the various diorama display bases out, the one that comes with the deluxe integrated suit, and the lizard display base. All of those individual figure preview videos are already live on the channel. I really do like when Hot Toys puts together these diorama displays. It's something different, yet it also gives you an idea of what these figures that were all designed together will actually look like displayed in close proximity in your collection. It gives you some ideas of what you could potentially do if you've got your own scaffolding and your own diorama creating skills. I would love to be able to do this in my collection, because having this kind of still frame from the movie with the multiple villains fighting your multiple Spideys, it's going to be attention grabbing, and it's immediately going to put you back in the theater when you are watching these 3 Spideys swinging around the Statue of Liberty for the first time. I know there's a full preview video on the Lizard diorama display base, but it looks right at home here. Now, you may be sitting there thinking one of 2 things. Where's the other half of Lizard? Yes, I totally understand, but also, oh yes, he is absolutely massive. Now, in the background, they have the 1.0 version of Doc Ock with the, quite frankly, awful head sculpt. I was hoping to see the updated prototype here, seeing as though this is their massive summer showcase event. But no, they stuck with that first head sculpt. We will have to wait and see how long it's going to take before they update it, or if they're just going to update it for final production and simply not say anything. I'm hoping that we do get to see it first in case it also isn't super good, but I'm still really excited to get their version of Doc Ock. And I think it's really fitting that we have Toby front and center with Andrew and Tom in the background. They're honoring the original Spidey by having him in the middle. And for me, that's something that I probably am going to do in my display also. The question does remain though, what are they going to do about Sandman? You can't have 4 out of the 5 villains, surely they have to do something. Will he be another diorama display base or will he be a full figure? Now Hot Toys did post some pics on their social media and in the caption, accidentally they included the wording, and the Sandman 1/6 scale figure or something like that. But then they removed it, and of course there is no Sandman here. So maybe the PR team had typed that up when they were planning on displaying Sandman, but he wasn't quite fully complete, and they decided not to show him. Now moving over to the Doctor Strange 2 section, oh yes, Multiverse of Madness. There are figure preview videos for Wanda and Doctor Strange, and also the Dead Strange on the channel. They look incredible as a trio. Will we be getting someone to go smack bang in the middle? You know, maybe America Chavez, I would love to see that. We will have to wait and see. But also, a Wong would be an awesome centerpiece. Hot Toys, we need justice for Wong. Make a 1/6 scale figure. He was awesome back in the first Doctor Strange movie, and just like fine wine, he's gotten better with age. With each subsequent appearance, he's kicked even more butt. Plus, he's looked good while doing it. In Multiverse of Madness, he had the coolest outfit that I've seen of the bunch. Now is the time for Wong. Hashtag, you can't go Wong. I'm so sorry, I had to. On the right, we have Wanda looking all kinds of mean with her dream walking up on top. Then in the background, Dead Strange. Oh yes, he's very creepy. And you can see how big the cape actually is here. It's going to take up a significant amount of space in the display, but I reckon it's worth it. The figure is truly a masterpiece, it's centerpiece worthy, and it's going to draw the eye. And then we have the brand new Doctor Strange with that incredible head sculpt. My favorite so far. I love the fringe hanging down over his forehead and the furrowed brow. This Doctor Strange isn't here for laughs, he's here for a reason, and it's to stop Wanda. I also really like that viper snake thing coming out of his hand, the magical effect. It looks really good, and it adds a little bit of horizontal dimension as it sticks out in front of him. They also had a relatively small Lightyear section with Buzz. Once again, preview is already live on the channel, but he comes with a metric ton of stuff. As a side note, something that I don't think I've mentioned before are the backgrounds in these displays. Now, it's something that I wish I could do. It actually gives a little bit of contrast and a pop of color for the figure to be displayed in front of. Now, having a simple black background also works, but with the logo smack bang in the middle behind the figure, yeah, it does kind of put the figure in their element. And Buzz looks incredible here. I know not everyone loved the movie, but I certainly did. Now, this was a bit of a surprise to no one, but also kind of everyone. I say no one because Hot Toys are making a quarter scale Mark IV, which is very, very similar to the Mark VI. But also, I didn't think they were going to go too heavy into the lineup. I mean, we have the Mark III, and the Mark II is a carbon copy of it with a bunch of rivets. We've seen the prototype back in 2019, but they never end up doing anything with it. Whereas here with the Mark VI, I'm hoping that they do. It looks incredible. The display base is quite clearly Iron Man 2 themed with multiple hammer drone pieces. You've got a torso on one side, an arm around the back, and a leg around the front. I'm not sure if they're fixed in position or movable like the other quarter scale Ultron pieces with the Mark 43 and 45, but we will have to wait and see. if this actually ever goes up for pre-order. The rest of the base is rocks and rubble, and for me it works a treat. Now, very clearly, Avengers is the superior movie, and the Mark VI was shown in that film. And that's why the 1/6 scale version, the diecast release, was branded as an Avengers figure. Now, yes, I wouldn't have minded seeing the same thing here, but seeing as though this was kind of like the big thing in Iron Man 2, the suit that solved his palladium poisoning issue, yeah, it absolutely works that this is based off Iron Man 2. He also has some battle damage on the thigh plates. Finally, we don't just have a swap out chest plate and some armor pieces with battle damage, now it continues from the upper torso all the way down to his legs. I cannot tell you how many times I've complained about this, so many times that I'm sure you're sick of hearing me say it. I never really loved that you just had battle damage on the upper torso and nowhere else. Now the entire look is tied together. Now, just like the battle damage Mark 85 prototype, the battle damage itself is really crisp. You've got multiple metal sections sticking out of the chest plate, the bullet holes and the crumpled pieces. It looks fantastic. But if they do end up making this, don't forget the details are going to be a little bit softer. When you mold and cast these pieces, you do tend to lose some of that sharpness. But I reckon Hot Toys have gotten to a pretty good point. I'm looking at the zombie Iron Man. That thing was awesome. The battle damage, the crumpled metal look, the scratching, the chunks of metal that have been ripped away from the armor. I reckon nowadays this could turn out very close to what we're seeing right here. My favorite Iron Man suit is the Mark 7, so I'm hoping that one's next. But I would also love to see, in quarter scale I mean, the Mark 5. That one with all the moving parts and pieces, it would be a sight to behold. Now they also had one of the Toy Fair exclusive figures being Neo from Matrix Resurrections. But how is this a Toy Fair exclusive figure when it's going to be releasing in 2023 or 2024? By that point, we'll have had Toy Fair exclusives from 2023 and 2024 actually be released. But we're going to be sitting here waiting for a Neo for a Matrix film that not a lot of people love to still be released. It just has me sitting here scratching my head. Now you have this screen that's translucent clamshell plastic with a bunch of bullets coming out of it. I like the effect. How good is it going to look with the final product? We will have to wait and see. The head sculpt, though, does look incredible. I reckon the Keanu likeness is on point. I like the sculpted hair, but the outfit is relatively simple. Now, how could Hot Toys have had this ready for Toy Fair now? Well, they could have done the exact same thing that they did with the Arena Boba Fett, and made a limited number in advance. Now, the reason why Hot Toys doesn't do that is because Hot Toys don't want any kind of risk of not selling their entire allotment. If anyone else is sitting around with these on their shelves, they don't really mind, like Sideshow and other retailers. But Hot Toys only display sold out and pre-order figures at secret base. Yes, that's good for them because they only make as many figures as are ordered by retailers and by customers in Hong Kong, but it's not great for customers because we have to wait a really long time. They can produce figures in advance like we've seen time and time again with Toy Fair exclusives, but they've conditioned us that when Hot Toys puts something up, it's at least going to be 12 to 18 months before that figure is released. Whereas it doesn't really have to be that way. The third Toy Fair exclusive figure this year, though, was the holographic Mark 85, and to put it quite simply, this one isn't for me. I will be picking it up and reviewing it, but I don't love the holographic figures, so I don't really know where this is going to go. As for Days of Future Past Wolverine, though, this thing looks incredible. I already told you how much I love it in the figure preview video, but I'm going to say it here too. This might just be one of my favorite Hot Toys figures of all time. It's not the most dynamic outfit, but the figure itself has so many technical advancements with the seamless forearms, how good the head sculpt is, the body itself, which looks to be slightly improved in terms of the proportions, and the real leather jacket plus the diorama display base. Oh yes, I'm very excited. We also have Obi-Wan Kenobi from his TV series, an unfortunately rather lackluster head sculpt that I'm hoping Hot Toys improve with the final product. Will they make adjustments? They haven't said that they're going to. If the figure releases like it's displayed here and now, then I'm a little bit worried, because as I've said a bunch of times, that head sculpt isn't perfect. I do still love that it's got moving eyes, it's got a bunch of accessories, the outfit looks great, plus the USB lightsaber. Now, Arena Boba Fett was available at the event, super limited, they only made 300 in advance, but I've popped up my review and that figure really is something special. It's based off the comic book series War of the Bounty Hunters, and I love it. Now, we started off with a bang with the Batwing, and we may as well wrap up with one too, with none other than the N1 Starfighter from Book of Boba Fett. And this thing looks awesome. A lot of people online were saying, ooh, I really want this. Are they going to make it? No, I don't think they're going to. Hot Toys love making vehicles for these showcase events just to get people talking. It's kind of like when you go to an auto show and they show you a bunch of concept cars without steering wheels and crazy stuff like that. It just gets people talking and grabs your attention. But they don't really have any intention of making it. I've been wrong about that before though, and I hope this is one of those instances. Are collectors going to actually have room to display this? I know I certainly am not, because you can see how big this thing is compared to the figures inside of it. But I'm sure if you wanted to have this as your one clear centerpiece, you could get that done. It's really nicely painted. There are some yellow stripes on it that are meant to represent the yellow paint it was covered in previously. Plus the engines are nicely detailed with the heat treatment. And you can see the little Jawa and the Gonk Droid, with the Gonk Droid being plugged in, powering up the Starfighter. You also have Mando on the inside, plus a BD unit and R5-D4. I am hoping we get these two little figures to add to our growing droid collection. And of course, in the back of the Starfighter, you also saw little baby Grogu poking out of his clear window. Now, once again, I have to say a massive thank you to Ryan Kirkwood for going to this event and getting all of this awesome coverage. While you are heading down to the description, if you do want to check out the links there, also hit the subscribe and bell notification icon so you're notified as soon as a brand new review goes live on the channel. Check out the join button for more info on Justin's collection plus the channel membership if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment and subscribe and we'll catch you in the next video.